In this video, a proper challenge for me. This is Gertie, a 1932 Austin Heavy 12.4 New Windsor, which was the style of bodywork, I believe. And 27 brake horsepower, a gearbox with no synchromesh at all, and it's going to be a very, very interesting drive. We've seen Gertie before at shows, we've even heard her engine run. Check out my Pembrokeshire Classic Car Club report for that. I've driven a very similar car owned by the National Motor Museum down in Bewley, but that was all done on private land. We're taking Gertie on the road and I am mildly terrified, but very excited. So the Austin 12 was launched in 1922. Production went through all the way till 1939. It is effectively the big sister to the Austin 7 and fairly similar in terms of mechanical layout. We've got a 4-cylinder engine up front, 4-speed gearbox. The pedals are all conventional to us modern motorists. That wasn't necessarily convention at the time, so it kind of set the scene for all that was to follow. But this lovely 6-light body is certainly very stylish and a lot more comfortable than the Tourer we drove down at the National Motor Museum, which really had no weather protection at all. You could assemble it if you really needed to. We've got suicide doors on the back where you can find my lovely backpack. But yeah, it's just a lovely old thing, and having had a sniff of driving one down at the National Motor Museum, I thought let's take it to the next level and take this one out for a drive. But before we go driving, let's have a look at the engine. So I'm always quite nervous of these because it seems there's 101 things you can scratch the paint with, but here is the engine. It's 1681 cc but just 27 brake horsepower, so it's like a huge iron block with the side valves. I've got the fan up front, a dynamo here. It has been converted to run on an electric fuel pump and conventional points and coil. It would have had magneto originally, but much easier to get running and starting with some slightly more modern equipment on. Let's see if we can start her up and we can have a listen. Turn on the ignition, turn on the fuel pump, and there we go. We just got her idling just slightly high while she's still warming up. That sounds absolutely lovely. And I can adjust the engine speed with steering wheel controls. So look at all the linkage. Just absolutely lovely. We'll shut her off momentarily. Wonderful. Nervousing. Oh, there we go. This isn't exactly quick release. Moving inside, good old running board to step up on, but then you've got to try and fold yourself in behind the enormous steering wheel. And there we go. Yeah, the interior very much dominated by the enormous steering wheel. There's the gear lever. We've got the gear positions marked just on the gate down there. Fairly conventional handbrake. We've got the addition of proper indicators, so that's right. Oh, and indeed they are flashing. That's engine start. This one is the fuel pump. This one turns the ignition on, and this little detail here, that is your interior light. That illuminates the dashboard. If I pop the lights on, there you go, and that just casts a glow over the instruments. Conventional pedal layer, as I said, so tiny little throttle pedal down there. Brakes need a good shove there. You can see the ammeter moves as the brake lights come on. That different electrical load. We've got air conditioning, sort of. A little fresh air vent down here to provide some cooling to the feet. Oil pressure gauge, and I don't think the fuel gauge works anymore because you used to have an auto vac to take fuel through, but it didn't work very well. I'm very sad to report that unfortunately the windscreen wiper does not work. I say that, it may have, oh yeah, you can manually do it. So there you go, but it does not wipe very much of the windscreen. There is no screen wash. It is not required on a vehicle where you can open the windscreen. We're not going to do that today, it's freezing, but you can unlatch that and flip the windscreen open for even more ventilation on a hot day. But yeah, it's a surprisingly cozy driving position. I think really the luxury is really in the rear. So hopping into the back, I've got the owner's fact sheets there, very helpful. And the leg room is absolutely immense. You sit right back here. I've even got these little rope handles to hold on to. It feels like a marvellous place to sit. So much leg room, and if you pop down here, there's even a droppable footrest for one's feet, so they're not uncomfortable and you're not overstraining your ankles. This was a time where motorist was not really for the everyday man. The 7 addressed that to a certain extent, but cars like this, you would have had to have been fairly wealthy at the time, I think. But what a marvellous thing. Just such a survivor. Look at the beautiful cut glass interior light. Different times, folks. There's no luggage storage apart from a rack at the back, so it's all out in the open. I suppose if you really wanted to, you could put a little in here with you, but I think it's time for me to do battle with that gearbox. Okay then, we turn the ignition on, turn the fuel pump on, and there she is, rumbling into life. This is not a high revving engine. It's the British tax system at the time favoured a really long stroke, so it is a very long stroke engine. There is much more up and down than there is across, which means it's very torquey but not very revvy. Right, we are going to go for first gear. I may stay in first gear because we're going to go straight up a hill, and with 29 brake horsepower to move this much car, that's going to be a challenge. So there we go. As soon as you're moving, the steering does get a lot lighter, but visibility is very good. You can easily see around, which is good. We are lacking in mirrors, just the one interior mirror over the horrible speed hump. And yeah, first gear is quite short, but all the gearing is short because there is so little power, and this would have been considered quite adequate back in the day. Flip on my left indicator. More modern car coming, so keep her rolling. What are they doing? Oh, they're going left. They've finally decided to indicate. Thank you for that. Takes an age for the revs to drop enough for you to select the next gear. Double declutching is essential, so I'm off the clutch, I'm back on the clutch, and I'm into third gear. Trying to do it without a crunch, even the owner says it is quite challenging. Third to fourth should be more doable. Oh, even a slight catch there, but there we go. Top gear, the quietest of the gears, but oh wow. Getting back down the gearbox, even more of a challenge. You need to bring the revs up to try and rev match. And when you're not used to the car and you don't know where the revs need to be, that is a challenge, but nonetheless we'll give it a go. I've done some double declutching. My 2CV does not have synchromesh on first gear, so if you want first gear on the move, you have to double declutch. And similarly, the Atkinson bus I drove with a manual gearbox, in theory had synchromesh, in reality not so much. We go open her up a bit, 40 mile an hour speed limit, speedo underreads quite dramatically, feels like it's trying to steer in 2 different directions, up once, oh that's twitchy. Gosh, sorry, the slightest steering wheel input and she's off. And people have no idea what a challenge these old cars are to drive. They can be very impatient with you. Come on, Gertie. Right, gonna go. Oh no, it's a mini roundabout. I can just keep a pottering in top then. Over we go, we're all clear. Yes, synchromesh took a while to find its way into cars, and even longer to get at first gear. It was quite difficult to make it work. Porsche was one of the companies that developed a really good ball crank synchromesh, and I think they licensed it out to a lot of car companies and gearbox manufacturers. It was that synchromesh which just got the gear speeds, the shafts up to the same speed, that allowed you to do a nice quick gear change in a way you just can't in this car. I have no idea how fast we're actually going. We're doing an indicated 30. Frankly, feels quick enough, but the owner takes this car all over the place. He's taking it to the Midlands, taking it to Brecon, which is very hilly, which is just wonderful. The fact this car is not a museum piece. It does get out there and keep on driving. Barely any need to trouble the brakes. They are there, it's mechanical. So you press the pedal, it actually moves cables and rods to affect braking and make the drums work. Give them a shove now. Yep, they're there, just about. Oi. Seems to take the car a while to catch up with the steering wheel. So yeah, it really does have those Austin 7 vibes. But it's something big enough for all the family. Oh no, we got speed. Oh, that's useful. That's telling me my speed. I'm going slightly too quick. Listen to how low the revs will go. And it's perfectly happy with it. As long as you keep her rolling, you can just leave her in top gear. Let's find out where the horn is. Is that it? No, is that it? Oh yeah, proper klaxon. Nice. I've been told the only problem on this road is there is apparently a bus. It is nice, people really do smile at you as you're driving around in this car. Oh, you're popping your exhaust, Gertie. She's like, yeah, I got a pop bang map. Also, there's a slight issue for a driver of my height. The wiper motor is exactly where I want to look forward. Ergonomics have come a long way, I feel. This is a very different experience to driving one of these on private ground. It just commands so much attention. But by far the biggest fear, it isn't this car, it's other road users not giving me the respect I need, the space I need, and the time to react I need. Oh, this is lovely. Look at this. Wow. What a beautiful spot. And, now we've stopped. Now we're going to go all the way back into... well, I'm going to start in second gear, I think. Let's try and get out the way of this car. Slightly typical. They're like, what are you doing? It's just like, I'm just preparing myself for finding a gear. I think we can take that idle down a bit now, Gertie. Oh, listen to that. Right, second gear. Check all around. Well, maybe we'll stay with second as we're going up. Do you reckon she'll pull it in third? Let's get over the worst of it. perfect gear change is still eluding me. Also have to remember that bits stick out further than the windscreen. Wings, running boards, all sorts. A bit like my 2CV, I guess, in terms of the wings sticking out. But otherwise, not very like my 2CV at all. Oh, lots and lots of other traffic. Marvellous. I can't believe how busy this tiny little road is. Oh, that was a good one. That was a good one, folks. I'm glad we're recording. But this kind of highlights the joy of these old cars. Here we are driving in a 20-mile-an-hour zone, not even doing 20 because of all the traffic, and really gives you a chance to get a feel for these old cars. They're not really for herring down A roads, for pottering around on the quieter roads, listening to the mechanical symphony that is the gearbox, and just enjoying the torque on offer. Just lovely. Oh, that wasn't smooth. No, not yet. Oh, every gear change is a battle. Apart from fourth is quite easy. Just lovely. Hard work, but lovely. Of course, it would have been a bit quieter on the roads when Gertie was brand new, way back in 1932. And more importantly, not many people would have had an awful lot more power. Well, there we go. That is definitely a driving experience to cherish and remember for a goodly while. Absolutely beautiful. So huge thanks to Stuart for letting us drive Gertie. We know he's very precious about this car, so we appreciate it very much. Thank you for watching, and we shall see you in a future video. Farewell. Bear with me. Old steering wheel controls were variously for the magneto, so you could advance and retard the ignition timing, but that's not needed with the more modern setup. And this is your idle control.